In this video, Yoga for Back Pain, we'll be going through some of the strategies that I use in my popular Yoga for Back Pain class in Dundee, so that you've got some stuff that you can do at home. As this class is about 30 to 35 minutes long, we can't cover obviously the huge expanse of the back, but these forest yoga techniques are really wonderful for creating space in the lower back, helping you reprogram some muscles that maybe have switched off, and hopefully leading the way to freeing up any pain that you have in your back. For this class, you are going to need a yoga block, and you can use that for all the pieces of the practice today. Or if you've got a rolled up, taped up mat, maybe you've done some of the other videos, use this as well. If not, you can use your block for this. So especially if you are tight in your lower back, there's this tendency towards scooping under, and some of the poses that we would normally do at the start of your yoga practice are less effective because you end up compensating for being in this really hunched up pose. So to start, take the block underneath your hips, so you're taking the pressure off of your hips and your lower back, and then take the feet so they're closer to your knees. In this position, get the weight so it's anchoring down over your sit bones, and then lift up through your head. So aiming to get the head above the shoulders and the shoulders down away from your ears. Close your eyes and start to deepen your breath. Ideally, switch to doing an inhale for roughly a count of 5 and an exhale for a count of 6. Inhale in a way that expands the breath down into your abdomen. Exhale to pull the belly button in towards your spine. All the way through this class, work your breathing in that way of getting abdominal recruitment every time you exhale, but softening and almost pressing down through your abdomen, through your diaphragm on the inhale. This begins to change the pressure that is going on in the abdominal cavity, and especially around the lower back stuff can be incredibly helpful to access different sensations than what you may be used to. So eyes closed, take 3 deep abdominal breaths. Keeping the eyes closed, choose somewhere in your back that needs this class the most. Maybe it is neck, shoulders, lower back. Maybe there is one side of the lower back or hips that is giving you the most aggravation. Get really clear with your focus on a spot that is no larger than the palm of your hand. Once you've got that spot, focus in on that area and even put your hands there. With your hands on that spot, breathe in a way that helps you move into this part, even with your awareness, but maybe physically moving it. Sense how this area is right now. And especially if you're working with an injury that is old, there is a tendency to hold on to the old stories that are there. Get clear on what the sensations are right now, perhaps even what this area needs from you right now, and how you can best work with this spot. Set a priority to work pain-free and struggle-free with this area throughout today's class. If you're adamant that there is no spot for you, choose where your spine meets your pelvis. Change the cross on your legs. Your pranayama, your breath work for today's class is Kapalabhati. To do Kapalabhati, you'll be doing really sharp staccato exhales through the nose, or if you're blocked through the nose, through the mouth, by pulling the belly button in. And it creates this really sharp sharp exhale that sounds like this. And your aim is to get this really punchy sensation in the abdomen as you start to fire up your abdominals. Bring your hands onto your abdomen. Do one of those little short, sharp exhales so you feel the belly button pulling back. Relax the abdomen, and there will be a passive inhale. Our aim is to do 50 consecutive exhales. We'll do them together. Exhale through the mouth until empty. Inhale halfway full. Then begin your 50 Kapalabhati exhales. Relax the abdomen. Take a deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth until empty. Return to a steady whisper sound. Back to that inhale for 5 and exhale for 6. Check in with the spot and see if you're starting to change the tone in that area. Now changing the cross in your legs, either so that the left leg is in front of the right, or left thigh over the right thigh, soles of the feet pointing towards the back of your mat for knee pile. Still sitting on the block. If you weren't sitting on the block before, sit on it now so that your hips are up a little bit higher than your feet. This changes the conversation with the piriformis for those of you that have got a lot of sciatic presentation. Bring the right elbow up, so the right elbow is the same height as your right shoulder, forearm is perpendicular to the ground, and right elbow in front and level with your shoulder. Inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, draw your right shoulder blade back, right shoulder blade down away from your ears. Inhale, reach the elbow forwards in space. You feel the entire forearm moving forwards. Take your left palm onto the inside of your right elbow. Inhale, lift chest up. Exhale, push your elbow into your hand and your hand into your elbow to feel the chest muscles engaging. Inhale, telescope your ribs up away from your hips. Maintain the pressure at the inside of the elbow. Exhale, draw the shoulder back, shoulder blade down. Inhale, reach the elbow forwards without shearing into the ribs. Exhale, increase the pressure in the elbow and begin to move the forearm out. You should feel the shoulder getting quite tired as a result of this. Inhale to relax the arm down. Come off of the block, but keep the leg configuration. If you feel like you're rolling under, you can switch back to cross-legged. If you're rolling under in cross-legged, wedge the block in at your pelvis and it should catch your sacrum and stop it from scooping under. Alternatively, do this part, the side bends, with your back against the wall, and this will keep your shoulders and your hips pretty level. Take the left hand out about 1.5 feet outside your left hip. Inhale, bring your right arm up and slide the right shoulder blade down, already feeling the musculature that we were just switching on. Exhale, flatten the left palm and lean to the left. Inhale, lift right ribs up away from your hips. Exhale, wrap right shoulder blade forwards towards the underarm. So that same feel we did before, elbow spins towards the front of the mat and then reach out through that side. Relax left ear towards left shoulder. Inhale, lift right ribs up away from your pelvis. Exhale, pull your belly muscles back towards your spine. Now reconnect to the spot you're working with today, that area that you've committed to work in a pain-free, pain-freeing, or a struggle-free way. Can you create more space around that area and hopefully less irritation? Second arm position. Exhale to reach your right arm to the right and down so the hand is lower than your right shoulder. Inhale, lift up through the abdomen. Exhale, draw your shoulders and shoulder blades down and relax left ear towards left shoulder. If you know that your head has a tendency to sit forwards of your shoulders, angle your chin upwards and stretch the area to the side of your throat. If you're not getting a stretch in the neck, lean more to your left, truly relax the neck, and increase the amount of reach that there is with that right hand. Your breathing will probably have become a little degraded during the neck stretch. Override that impulse and make your breathing phenomenally huge. Now moving with a relaxed neck, inhale to reach with that right hand. Use your left hand on the side of your head and lift your head up so you are not straining stretched neck muscles. Change the cross in your legs, so that might be knee pile. Come back up onto the block so we can get this almost 2-for-1 deal for your hips. In knee pile, stacking right knee above the left knee and aiming to get both sides of the pelvis down so they are level. If that's not working, do cross-legged. Bring the left arm up this time. Left elbow is in line with the shoulder, upper arm is parallel to the floor, forearm is perpendicular to the floor. Inhale, lift up through the ribcage, lifting up through the back of the skull. Exhale, draw your left shoulder blade back, shoulder blade down. Inhale, reach the elbow forwards in space. Exhale, take your right hand onto the inside of the left elbow and apply pressure. Your aim is to get enough pressure that you feel the pec muscles engaging, underarms, lats starting to switch on. Inhale, lift chest up. Exhale, push elbow into hand and hand into elbow. Inhale, lift up through the back of your skull. Exhale, maintain the pressure, draw left shoulder back, shoulder blade down. Inhale, reach the elbow forwards in space. Exhale, squeeze elbow into hand and hand into elbow. Now having a look at the forearm, exhale, increase the amount of angle that there is moving outwards on the forearm. Take care that wasn't just a wrist gesture, move your forearm itself. Increase the amount of squeeze for another 3, 2, and 1. Relax that arm down. It should feel quite fatiguing around the shoulder. Come down off of the block. If possible, keep the leg position. Maybe use the block behind you to support your pelvis if necessary. Take the right hand outside the right hip, about 1.5 feet. Inhale, bring the left arm up, left shoulder blade down, and begin that wrap in the shoulder with your palm spinning towards the back of your mat. Exhale, flatten the right palm and then lean to the right. Inhale, lift left ribs up away from the ground. Exhale, wrap left shoulder blade forwards and straighten the left arm. Draw right shoulder down and relax your neck. Inhale to feel an expansion into left side low belly and left side low ribs. Exhale, pull the belly muscles in, but without rounding into the back or collapsing in the chest. Feel space and openness on the left side of your back and chest. Second arm position. Exhale, reach your left arm to the left and down and explore the angle that feels best in the head and neck here. You may find that there's a different area that wants to stretch on this side. Do indulge that. Inhale, lift up through the abdomen. Exhale, glide your shoulder blades down and relax right ear towards right shoulder. If your left arm has gone a little bit limp, go ahead and wake it up. Actively reaching as if you're trying to tickle a puppy's tummy. Which is exactly how that would go in our house. Now working with a relaxed neck, inhale to reach with that left arm, use the right hand on the side of your head and then lift your head up. Unravel your legs, give your legs a little bit of a roll out, especially if you're not used to sitting like that at all. And for the next part, you'll be doing this with your hands on the wall, but for the ease of filming, I'm going to do this with my hands on the back of a chair. This is to unlock into your hamstrings a little bit. Before we come down for the abdominals, it's really important that we get a little bit of movement through your pelvis and understanding the dynamics of both anterior and posterior tilt. Don't worry if you don't know what those are. We won't necessarily use them again, but we will use the movements. When I see a lot of people that are really scooped under, usually hamstrings and inner thighs are pulling them underneath and their lower back ends up in this really rounded and compressed place. Doing this exercise with the wall will help liberate your hamstrings before we get down and do some of the more mat-based work. So take yourself to the wall as I grab my chair. This is giving you time to get to the wall. This is my beautiful wall. Set your hands shoulder distance onto the wall and bring the chest so your chest is parallel to the floor. In this position, take your right leg back and your left leg forwards, going for about 3 feet between the feet lengthways, 1 foot between the feet widthways. Left foot points towards the wall, right foot points to about a 2 o'clock if your head is at 12. In this position, there's a tendency towards rounding the back. If that's happening, take your hands up a little bit higher, your chest up a little bit higher, soften the left knee. Now articulate your pelvis by sticking your butt out. And this should give you an increase in stretch in that left leg. Inhale, scoop your ribs and diaphragm towards the wall. Exhale, relax your neck and draw your left hip back and right hip forwards. So our aim is to go after a stretch in the back of the left leg, and at this point, not necessarily your biggest, deepest stretch. Your lower back, if it feels like it is really rounding, scoop the chest forwards like cobra, Then articulate the pelvis, aiming almost for your lower back to go into its natural curvature, so that restoring that lordotic curve. Hamstring injured, take your right hand high into the left upper thigh and press the hand against the thigh as you push the thigh against the hand. Stay here, but exhale everything out through the mouth. Hold your breath, stretch your ribcage to the front of your mat or towards the wall and stick your butt out. Relax the abdomen, take a deep breath in. Changing legs, go through that halfway place where you've got the feet underneath the hips and then go from there, because you may find that you are tighter or more flexible on one side compared to the other. Right leg is forwards, 3 feet between the feet lengthways, 1 foot widthways. Press actively through both feet. Inhale, articulate the chest towards the wall. Exhale, point your hips away so you're kind of sticking your butt out and draw the right hip back. Inhale, stretch ribs and diaphragm towards the wall. Exhale, point your butt away from the wall. Hamstring injured, take your left hand to the right inner thigh. Now, even if you're not injured, this is a great way to learn how to switch on your adductors. Inhale, scoop chest and diaphragm towards the wall. Exhale, push your thigh against your hand and your hand into your thigh. So your aim is to feel for your inner thighs switching on and that firming up of the musculature. Stay here, exhale through the mouth. Inhale, stretch ribs and diaphragm towards the wall and stick your butt out. Hold your breath. Relax the abdomen, bend the legs, and then step forwards. You should have felt your hamstrings quite a bit there. Now for the next part, you'll be doing abdominal work. For the abdominals, you'll be using the rolled up mat. If you don't have the rolled up mat and you've got a yoga block, take it onto a medium setting. This will give you really good purchase at your inner thighs. Narrow and wide just don't work so well. Watch me first and then we'll do them together. For the first one, you'll be taking the roll or the block to your inner thighs on a medium setting. You can either work with your knees up and legs bent, or if your back feels, or your hip flexor feels like it's really jamming doing this, then the feet are on the floor but the feet are light. The cues go like this. Inhale, low back and pelvis presses down, holding the breath, tailbone curls up, squeezing the roll or the block. Exhale, head and shoulders lift, underarms lift towards the ceiling, belly button pulls down. Inhaling to set the head down. Once we've done a few of those, shoulders down away from the ears, pressing the hips up into bridge. So for now, we're still just watching this one. After a little bit of time there, removing roll or block and coming into back release, crossing 1 foot over the thigh and then drawing the legs in to begin to massage into some of these tighter muscles around the hips, especially if that's your problem area. To get up from the ground, you will roll to your side, use the arms to come up and use the left hand on the side of the head to lift up through your head and neck. So grab either your roll or your block and then come down onto your back. If your back is tender, I like to work with additional padding underneath the back. So I've got the second yoga mat, you can use a blanket or something under there. If your back is feeling very sensitive, work with your feet on the floor, especially disc damaged people. Alternatively, bring the knees up so your knees are above your hips, shins parallel to the ground. So choose what will work for you. The breath cues are the same. Hands are clasped behind the head, bring the elbows in close to the sides of your head. Head is down. Feel already for pressing your back ribs down, your low back down, and your pelvis down. Inhale deeply. Hold your breath, curl the tailbone up, squeeze the roll or the block. Exhale, head and shoulders lift, underarms lift towards the ceiling, belly pulls down. Inhale, lay the head down. Hold your breath. Curl, tailbone up, squeeze the block or the roll. Exhale, head and shoulders lift, underarms lift towards the ceiling, belly pulls down. Inhale, head down. Hold the breath. Press low back and pelvis down. Curl, tailbone up, squeeze the roll or block. Exhale, head and shoulders lift, belly button pulls down. Inhale, lay head down. One more. Hold the breath. Curl, tailbone up, squeeze the roll or the block. Exhale, head and shoulders lift, underarms lift towards the ceiling, pull belly down. Inhale, lay your head down, and then set your feet down. Getting ready for bridge, move the feet so they are close enough to you that when you bring the arms down by your sides, you can touch the heels. If you can't quite do that, see if you can shift them closer. If your feet are as close as you can get them, then that will be close enough. Bring the arms down by your sides, palms face up, and your hands are wider than your yoga mat. Inhale, scoop your ribcage towards the back of your mat. Exhale, press down into your feet, tuck tailbone towards the roll, squeeze the roll or the block, and then lift your pelvis up. Now the tendency is to stay super low here. Instead, inhale, articulate your chest towards the back of your mat. Exhale, squeeze the roll and lift hips up. So using this to help connect to the strength of your legs while switching on your inner thighs, one of the keystones to your pelvic floor, but also towards supporting your hips. Inhale in a way that expands into the chest and collarbones. Exhale, relax your shoulders and your neck without writhing on them. Check in with that spot you're working with. See if you can work this pose in a way that helps this area decompress. If it's low back stuff, grab your pelvis with both hands and physically pull your pelvis away from your ribs while stretching your ribs away from your pelvis. This is called bridge back traction, and it can feel pretty delicious. Inhale, press in into your feet and lift your toe tips and spread them. Exhale, squeeze the roll about 60%, so using roll or block interchangeably. Take a huge breath here. Exhale, lower down through your shoulders, mid-back, low back, and then set your pelvis down. Remove the roll or the block. Cross your left foot over your right thigh for back release. Have the foot just off the side of that right knee. Exhale, bring the legs up, so right thigh is coming in close to the chest. Hold either the thigh or hold on to the shin. Draw the legs in until you meet your first edge of resistance. If you find when you're doing this that your pelvis is curling up from the floor, press down through your pelvis and you'll meet a more interesting edge. If your head is pulling up from the ground, take something under your head like a folded up blanket. The block might be a bit too big for now. Inhale, stretch your ribcage towards the back of your mat. Exhale, send the left leg bones upwards whilst pulling all of the legs in towards you. If you take a little bit of movement side to side with your legs, changing the angle, you may find you hit some sweet spots, either about 25 degrees to the left, maybe 25 degrees to the right. Usually right gets into some of the sweet spots for my hips. If your left leg is switching off, keep it very active, foot flexing, leg bones pressing towards the ceiling. Inhale, bring your legs back through center, change the cross in your legs and be prepared for what might be quite a different experience on the other side. Take a hold of the left thigh or shin once you've crossed your right foot over and ease the legs in. Slide the right side of your pelvis towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine along your mat as if your skull could reach further to the back of the mat. Exhale, pull with your arms until you meet that interesting edge in your right hip. Do this in a way that allows you to still work in a way that is both struggle-free and pain-free, even if you're up against big sensations in your legs and your hips. Explore moving a little bit side to side, so a little bit of movement, maybe one way, maybe the other, and if you find a sweet spot, stay there for a little longer. Now bring your attention back to your breath. Bring back that abdominal breathing. Inhale in a way that pushes down into the low belly. Exhale, pull belly muscles in, send the right leg bones away. Inhale, release your legs, set your feet flat to the floor. Roll onto your left hand side and then use your arms to come up from the ground. Left hand on the side of your head brings your head up. And then move towards a comfortable seated position so you can see the next part. When working with back pain, it is really important to get the legs really moving and very strong. So as you move into the next little bit of lunging, the aim is to really teach the hip flexors how they can engage whilst decompressing the lower back and stretching into some of the areas that can compound this feeling of compression or stiffness in the lower back. During the lunges, there'll be a couple of actions that we'll be looking at. The first one is tucking the tailbone down. To do this, feeling for the top rim of the pelvis moving down away from the spine. The second action that we'll be doing in combination is telescoping the ribcage up, stretching the ribs physically up away from the pelvis. When done together, you don't need to worry too much about this feeling of tucking too much in the tailbone, because you'll be switching on the musculature and changing how the postures are speaking to your lower back and your hips. Start in an all fours position and then step the left foot through between the hands. It can be a bit of a clunky way to get the foot there, but it works. Come up. I've got padding underneath my right knee. If your knees are sensitive, fold over your yoga mat so you have a little bit of extra support there. Sciatic folks, you tend to really work into rotation ability in your thighs. Make sure that right leg is pointing straight back. Inhale, lift your ribcage up away from your hips. Exhale, tuck your tailbone down so you feel your butt muscles firing up. Inhale, move your chest forwards and up. Exhale, maintain all of that and begin to lower towards your front heel. So now that you've got this, the tailbone tucking down, ribs telescoping up, exhale to squeeze your right knee towards the front of the room. So switching on some of those deeper hip flexors. If your back is fine here, inhale to bring the arms up. Exhale, wrap shoulder blades towards the underarms. Inhale, stretch ribs up away from pelvis. Exhale, switch on your inner thighs like you did when you were squeezing the roll and the block in bridge. If your back feels comfortable enough with this, take a little bit of a side bend to the left. Right arm is reaching over to the left while squeezing your right knee towards the front of the mat. Inhale, release your hands down, step both feet back, get the knees a little further back than your hips, and then move your shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, bend the elbows, elbows above the wrists as you lower down to your abdomen, and then prop up on your elbows. Now for low cobra, working a very specific action of pulling with the arms, you'll be articulating the chest forwards. Start, inhale to pick your left leg up. Exhale, roll your left knee towards your right knee, reach the leg back and then put it down. Inhale, lift the right leg up. Exhale, roll it towards your left knee, reach it back and then put it down. Exhale, tuck your tailbone towards your heels, press all toe tips down. Inhale, pull with your arms, physically dragging your chest forwards. Exhale, slide your upper arms down away from your ears and see if you can get a little bit more movement forwards in the chest. If this is gnarly on your lower back or it's pinching, take the hands further forwards, but remember it's a pulling action. If your arms have straightened, you're just shoving. Inhale, pull to lengthen your abdomen along the mat. Exhale, tuck tailbone to the heels, press feet down. Exhale, lower down, bring your hands under your shoulders and lift back up onto all fours. Lunge, step the right foot forwards, come all the way up, getting the shoulders above the hips, left knee under pelvis, right heel underneath the right knee. Inhale, stretch the ribcage up away from pelvis. Exhale, tuck tailbone down and begin to lower down into the legs. Now this isn't a collapse or a letting go of the musculature, your aim is to still feel very active. Exhale, tuck tailbone down and squeeze inner thighs towards each other. Inhale, stretch ribs up away from hips. Exhale, draw shoulders and shoulder blades down. Now you can stay here, feeling for squeezing that left knee towards the front of your mat, or bring the arms up. Inhale, lift up through ribs. Exhale, wrap shoulder blades towards the underarms and squeeze inner thighs towards each other. So feet and legs and butt are incredibly active. Inhale into abdomen. Exhale, pull belly muscles in. Now you can stay here or add in a bit of a side bend. Right hand supports on the right thigh, left hand reaches over to the right. Take care not to open up towards the left side of your mat. Chest and pelvis face forwards. Inhale, lift left ribs up. Exhale, pull belly muscles in, tailbone tucks down. Inhale, release your hands down. Step the feet back, so doing one more round of cobra. Inhale to move your shoulders in front of your wrists. Exhale, bend the elbows, so the elbows are above the wrists as you lower. Shoulders draw back away from your ears. Low cobra. Prop up on the elbows. Do that same move with your legs of picking the leg up, rolling the knee in, and then the same on the other side. Using this as change how your thighs speak to your pelvis. Exhale, tuck your tailbone towards your heels, press down to your toes. Inhale, pull with your arms, dragging your chest forwards. Inhale in a way that stretches the breath into your abdomen. Exhale, reach back through your strong legs and press down into your feet. Exhale, lower down, bring hands under shoulders, and then pick yourself up. From here, taking final relaxation pose, so keeping the session short so you've got something perhaps you can do on a more daily basis. For final relaxation pose, if you feel like you're very compressed in your hips, there are a couple of different options you can do here. Laying on the back with the knees together will allow the lower back to settle down towards the ground. And for those of you with SI joint stuff, that may feel really great. Alternatively, feet can be flat, or legs can be straight, or if you've got a usable wall, you can set your feet up against the wall, hips a wee bit away from the wall, so that you can have the legs up and the lower back taking a little bit of weight. Wherever you're choosing, draw your shoulders down, palms face up, and if you're not quite down yet, bring yourself down. Close your eyes and bring your attention inwards. Allow your attention to be tenuously linked to that spot you were working on today. That part in your back that you're wanting to be pain-free and struggle-free. Make any other little adjustments so that you can be pain-free and struggle-free around that area, or at least a little bit of relief if possible. Take the breathing out of Ujjayi, or that deep, full breath, and let it return to more of your resting quality breath. Rest here for a couple of minutes. begin to deepen your breath. Breathe in a way that exaggerates the swell into the abdomen. And reconnect to that area that you were working with today. Acknowledge any changes, no matter how small they feel. And acknowledge the time you've taken to do some of this work to navigate your shoulders, your back, your hips. Take some movement into your fingers and your toes. And then bend your legs, setting your feet to the floor. Roll onto your left hand side. And then use your arms to make your way up with a relaxed neck towards seated, maybe sitting on props. Left hand brings the head up once you are up. Once you're up, bring that super deep breathing back. Bring your hands together. Honor the time you've taken to do this work, this working with an injury and investing in yourself. Take a huge breath in. Exhale, bow forwards. Namaste.